If you have not been to the polls already, this segment is for you. I want to talk directly to you. There is a political message that I want you to carry with you as you go to the polls. And that is the political message that politicians have said to us, not through their words. Some of them have said it through their words, but many of them and most of them have communicated this message through their actions. And these are three words that they have said to us, and that is tough luck, America. Okay. Politicians have access to vast amounts of data. Okay. They have access to specialists. They have access to a whole different level of things and people that the average American does not have access to. So I refuse for one iota, one moment, to believe that politicians, any of them, Democrat, Republican, that none of them knew the implications of their inability to get something done, or in some cases, they didn't understand the implications of them only proposing doing the bare minimum, even if we were willing to go along with that. So what I say to you, I have very much advocated for the take back of the Senate in Democrat control. I have very much advocated that we no longer have Donald Trump as president and that we re-elect Joe Biden, that we elect Joe Biden as our next president. But I will say this, I don't care who you are voting for. Well, I have a preference. What I do every day speaks to the fact that I want a specific, let me kind of backtrack. It's not that I want a specific party, because I have no allegiance to party. Our organization is not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with party. It's just on the issue of COVID-19 economic stimulus and relief. Certain people have shown us that they are more willing to benefit, or that they are of more benefit. They will provide more value to most Americans, right? Rather than just kind of that subset of, your wealthy political elite. But no matter, honestly, and I'm being very, very honest. No, let me not say I don't care who you're going to vote for, because I do. But I will say whoever you decide to vote for, make sure you vote and you go to the polls being willing to hold somebody accountable. Because politicians are counting on you not holding anybody accountable. They are counting on you not holding people accountable by not voting. They are counting on you not holding people accountable by just being willing to fall and toe the party line if you've been affiliated with a political party your entire life, or they count on you not holding anybody accountable by, as part of towing the party line, saying, you know what, I care about this specific social issue. Again, using myself as an example, I say it all the time. I close my eyes at night and I see Nancy Pelosi somewhere on a corner in San Francisco performing drive-through abortions herself and handing out checks to illegal aliens. I see it. I know somewhere in my heart of hearts that is what Nancy Pelosi does. But I will tell you what, as wrong as I believe that she is on those issues, I understand that our country is in a moment of crisis. And as much as I literally hate abortion, as much as I literally think that people are killing children when they are having abortion, on the issue of COVID-19, Nancy is right. And in the words of the president, it is what it is. And so because of that, I have to hold who I believe to be accountable on the issue of COVID-19 economic stimulus and relief. even if it means that I have to favor people that I probably would not otherwise favor. Right now, if you have some like deep seated, I can't, certain beliefs I can't go against, I'll, again, getting real personal. Again, I say all the time, I am a Christian woman, right? I believe Jesus Christ. He is my Lord and Savior. Hey, you believe what you want to believe, but that's what I believe, and I will go to the grave being willing to be persecuted for that. Hate me if you want to, but I know where my hope lies, and it is not in any of you. It is in Jesus Christ. But that said, as much as I also believe that abortion is wrong, right? I don't plan to vote solely based on that issue. Does that mean that just because, let's again have a moment of honesty. I know that Joe Biden, he supports abortion. He believes in what I see is killing children, right? Is my vote for him a what's the word I'm looking for? Does that mean that I accept and agree with the fact that he wants to have women all across the country killing their children? No, right? But does that also mean that because I believe he's okay with that he is wrong automatically on every other issue? No. What it's about, and here's the problem, and I'll use our organization. Our organization used to focus on various social issues. And if you notice, right, certain social issues have become synonymous with specific political parties. Okay, you look at LGBTQ LMNOP rights, you look at abortion, you look at fiscal conservatism, which if you investigate that's a fraud in and of itself, because I can guarantee you, while they haven't been really fiscally conservative the last 4 years, trust and believe, as soon as we roll into November 4th, the lights are going to come on for how much they need to save money, right? When they have not been doing that the last 4 years. But anywho, so, all of these social issues have become synonymous with specific political parties. And this is where they get you, okay? I'm not telling you to change your values and change your beliefs. But what I am telling you to do is that you need to recognize that if you make an alphabet soup out of all of your social issues, you really only have two options. Okay? Again, and I don't even know if that made sense, but if you say to yourself, I'm going to vote only based on abortion. I'm only going to vote based on what I am sold to on as fiscal conservatism. I'm only going to vote on a wall. I'm only going to vote based on X, Y, and Z. Or I'm going to vote on this and this. A and B, 1 plus 1 typically equals 2, right? The issue of think of it almost like an equation. If you add, just say, welfare reform and you add illegal immigration, what does that equal? Republican Party. If you add LGBTQ, LMNOP, rights with, abortion, what do you get? Democrat Party. They are counting on you going along with the equations that they have made for you. And you have to be willing to think for yourself. Again, does that mean, let's say, for instance, if you've been a lifelong Republican, does that mean that automatically, if you're willing to, for instance, vote for Joe Biden, does that mean that you automatically agree that, abortion should be handed out on every corner? Does that mean that you agree that they should be able to abort to the day of delivery? Does that mean that you think that crack cocaine should be legal? Does that mean that you think that 5-year-olds can decide to be transgender? Does that mean that you think that a man in a dress should be able to use the bathroom with your daughter? No, it doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't mean that you agree to that. Okay? And this is where you have to and I want to be very honest with you. All politicians, no matter who they are. If you didn't know, now I want you to know that they use you for an explicit purpose. And that purpose is getting your vote. And when they no longer need your vote, they no longer pander to you. You can see that with examples of specific locations, that they say, oh, look at Florida and it's going to, so the country and the presidency depend on Florida, or states. We're seeing in this election cycle states that they never really cared about before. Now some of these states matter. You know what I mean? States that mattered in the past, now you don't see them caring so much and kind of trying to pander to them or running a lot of ads there because it's not serving a purpose anymore. And that's honestly what you have to do back to the politicians. You need to say to yourself, what is my most important issue in this moment, this election cycle? And I'm going to vote based on that. So, for instance, right now, the name of the game to get what we need done on COVID-19, economic stimulus and relief, not just to help you, but to help our country, we need a President Joe Biden. We need more Democrats in the Senate. Now, once this term is over and this issue is hopefully no longer an issue, maybe that means that we no longer need to give a damn about those people and you can go on to the next issue and other politicians. You need to stop swearing allegiance to politicians and parties. Because when they can always, this is how you get, for instance, a safe Democrat, because they have these districts that they can reliably count on as being Democrat or, being Republican. They have these politicians who come from districts that are like, you got to free your mind, people. You really have to free your mind, and it's unfortunate that we see so many people, who call, for instance, something like our organization has done wishy-washy in terms of, oh, you didn't support illegal immigrants and now you guys are willing to support a Democrat. Yeah, because that's what we need in this time. Our organization is not affiliated with a political party. We're not affiliated with a specific politician. And what that does is it frees us to be honest. We don't have to defend politicians who are screwing over the American people. We don't have to defend parties that are no good for the American people. And you could be willing to do that. You could be willing and able to do that if you were willing to lose your allegiance. But in order to do that, you have to educate yourself. Does that mean you have to become a political junkie? No. But the more you know, the less likely you can be manipulated. Is there a lot of disinformation out there? Absolutely. But let me tell you something. Even with a lot of information you're being fed from various sources, if you just literally think about the information, for instance, I had an episode not too long ago where I talked about how I think it was the asinine accusations episode, the episode before last, where we were talking about, where one party was saying, how the Republicans were saying, Nancy just doesn't want to give you a deal because she doesn't want Trump to have a win. But I broke down how, look, we have a negotiator in chief who calls himself like the king of the art of the deal. And he knows for a fact, if he really believed it, the best way you do it in a negotiation is you call the other side's bluff. So what you do in that situation is you don't sit up there and you don't say, oh, well, I'm not going to go along with it because she just wants to win. If you really believe what you're trying to sell me, you would actually go ahead and agree to it and let themselves kick themselves in the butt. But the fact that you did it shows me that you don't believe what you were actually espousing to believe. So when you start being more independent and you pull yourself away from a political party, you put yourself in a position where sometimes you might agree with the Democrats, sometimes you might agree with the Republicans. And the beautiful thing about that is when you are more independent and less of you hold less of an allegiance to a political party, you don't have to defend the actions or the ideas of that party. Somebody comes up to me and says, oh, you want Joe Biden elected? Well, he wants to kill the babies. Okay, that's his thing. I don't agree with him on everything. Do you honestly believe everything and agree with everything for somebody you vote for? If you do, you're drinking Kool-Aid. You're not thinking for yourself. There's no way that you can agree on everything that a politician, most people don't either. If you agree on everything, that says that the politician either doesn't have a broad enough kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have a broad enough they don't have a broad scope of issues that they're focused on. So you'll find some politicians who literally are only running on one issue, veterans or this or that or 2-3 issues. But you know, if you're finding like you've got like this template boilerplate Republican, platform, or the only reason, and let me tell you, most of these politicians don't even believe all of what they're trying to sell you. They just go along with the platform ideas because that's how they can get money from the RNC or the DNC. People who will just feed them money to do their campaigns. Because we need to get this politician elected because we need this seat and this will help us overall congressionally. So we'll go down and we're willing to give you money. And you don't believe me? Look, I've been on there's a show called Power, and I have been on a binge, right? So you have Congressman Tate, right? He literally in the show, he literally just had like a woman from the DNC come down to him. He's been working like with this gangster. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Not going to go on a tangent. But point of it is, guys, think for yourself and take with you to the polls this message that they have been saying to you, which is tough luck. And you need to I don't care who you hold accountable, hold somebody accountable, because what they're counting on is that you don't recognize the amount of political power that you actually have. And when you don't, not just recognize it, but when you don't take advantage of that political power, you let them run willy-nilly. It's the equivalent of somebody breaking into your house. You know who broke into your house, but you decide not to call the police. Why would you do that? You have the full force of the law behind you to hold that person accountable for breaking into your home, disrupting your safety, putting you at risk, your family at risk, but you decide not to do it. Why in the heck would you do that? This is what these politicians have done. They have broken into our country. They are making you less safe, your family less safe. They are throwing this country in the trash and they're setting it on fire. We need to hold them accountable. They're counting on you not holding them accountable. And speaking of holding people accountable and voting and using your vote as a method of holding people accountable, I want to stress that while you're on your way to the polls, when you're at the polls, make sure that you are safe, okay? Tomorrow really should be another day where we can, as they say, make America great again, right? We've been hearing this phrase for years at this point, make America great again. Oh, make America great. But really and truly, tomorrow, no matter who ends up in what position tomorrow, this is individually our individual attempts to do what we can as individuals to make America great again, right? But instead of us doing that tomorrow, when you look around, tomorrow is literally being set up to be a day of fear, right? Tomorrow is going to be a day to make America scared again. Some people are literally scared to go to the polls, not necessarily because some of them because they fear the results, right? Some of them because they fear that their votes aren't going to be counted. Some people because they fear that they might be hurt physically on their way to the poll or at the poll. I saw a video of somebody throwing a sword at somebody in a car. It was a Trump supporter, or a woman was in the car on her way to vote, and he said that she better vote for Trump, and he threw a sword at her. We've all hopefully or probably seen that video of the gang of thugs that are the Trump supporters who were in cars. And I'm not saying that they're Trump supporters, that they're thugs just because they're Trump supporters. I'm saying that their actions were thug behavior, right? We have no problem calling looters and rioters who demonstrate horrible and deplorable behavior thugs. I have no problem in calling people who demonstrate this deplorable behavior thugs. These people were thugs thugs when they went and they tried to ram the Biden camp, the Biden Harris bus and run it off the road. That was thug behavior, right? At thug behavior. And so when we look at everything, you know, when you consider the fact that they're putting a fence around the freaking White House, stores are being boarded up, right? We're making America scared again. And this fear is this negative emotion that ultimately makes us weak again. What is this? Make America weak again? We need to make America great again. And we literally, just how we need to be taking our country back, we need to take that phrase back. And we do that by holding people accountable when you vote tomorrow. But in the process of voting, on your way to vote, when you actually vote, please be safe. And like me, I tell people all the time, look, I can't fight, but I can dial 911 really, really fast. So if you have to, put 911 on speed dial. I don't know if you can, but do what you have to do to be safe, because we've got to make America great again.